here we go. We got a couple of subjects to talk about, more focused towards Sean O'Malley and Merab going for a rematch, I believe, at UFC 316. So, is this rematch warranted? Do we need it? Also, in relation to that, Adam 22, who obviously had Sean O'Malley as one of his guests before. I believe that was just right before Sean O'Malley was the world champion. So, again, that particular platform really has this of, I wouldn't say finding underground talent, although they have done that. They have facilitated such matters to where they were able to give opportunities to people that were, let's say, on a smaller scale of things, right? Sean O'Malley is sort of that symbol because he obviously came to No Jumper way before he was the champion. Way before. So, what does that tell you? That tells you really nothing. I mean, there's really no correlation to that other than just me trying to add these two stories together. But the one story that remains is Adam 22 now proclaiming that No Jumper is going broke. Now, is he correct? Is he lying? Is there a strategical ploy behind what he's trying to do in order to come up with some nefarious plan and scheme of things in order to somehow, I don't know, maybe garner attention on the members' side of things? I mean, let's be honest, right? Would I do something like that to try and garner more attention on the members' stream? Well, you know what? I certainly would not lie about my financial endeavors in any kind of way, right? And certainly not put out any struggles of, a financial crisis, whether that would be real or whether that would be strategic in any kind of way. It just would not seem like the most responsible thing to do. But then again, when you're dealing with somebody like Adam, is he really a person that does anything the responsible way? And I think that he does for the most part. The one thing that Adam 22 really does in a responsible manner is take guard of his particular channel. Sean O'Malley sort of has the same strategy. No scammers on YouTube. I don't understand what you mean by that, Mark. When you say no scammers on YouTube, do you mean Adam 22 being a potential scammer? And by the way, shout outs to the 18 people that are in here right now. Don't forget to not only like and subscribe, but also check out the members stream section also. Hey Pookie, JHB says, how you doing, man? Mark says, just a joke. So yeah, there is one thing that Sean O'Malley does also very meticulous, and that is really take care of his training camp, right? He does everything right down to the T. Sleeping patterns, for example, he's right on track with his nutrition. A consummate professional, right? But what went wrong in the Merab fight? Well, obviously Merab is a stylistically bad matchup for Sean O'Malley. Hey, think you are Indian? No, I'm not. I'm not that of that ethnicity at all. Why did Diddy have all the baby oil? Mary used to ask. I don't know what his reason would be. Your guess is as good as mine when it comes to that particular subject. I will say there is a chance, though, that Diddy might be getting off. And if he does, I think that's going to set the internet on fire because many people really had convinced that he was guilty and that he was going away for this. But then the reality of the matter is that, yeah, that's not how it goes in the court of law because you need solid evidence. But come to think of it, what is it that the feds did not do to close this deal, right? Somebody messed up along the way. Breezy 504 says, we all know why. Marius, so he can do Diddler. All right, so we got some people in the chat having a conversation amongst themselves. So, is this matchup warranted for Merab and Sean O'Malley? I'm going to say no. What part of the big doo-doo gang today or nah? Are you part of it? I don't understand what you mean by that, dingus. But please, try to keep your comments respectful, or I am going to have to time out you. But I don't know what you mean by that. Matter of fact, dingus, you got yourself a timeout for 5 minutes. See you in 5 minutes. You can engage back again in 5 minutes. Is it true that Dana White rips off the fighters? I mean, worse than other promoters? You know what? That's a very good question, Mark. Get it? Question mark. Okay, so Mark, I'm going to answer your question. And interesting screen name you have. It just says Mark, but you have a question mark on the end of it. So I'm going to answer that question. Conor McGregor is the most exploited fighter of all time, and he is the most underpaid fighter of all time. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm saying that. In order to be the most highest paid MMA fighter of all time in the UFC, you also have to be the most underpaid and most undercut fighter there is. Because think about it. He makes more money than everybody else, so therefore the UFC takes more money from him than everybody else. Adrian, yes, I absolutely remember you, my man from Russia who is watching me through a VPN. Shout out to the Russians for using VPN in order to watch YouTube. Now, I don't know why Vladimir Putin would not allow their citizens to watch YouTube. If anything, I mean, maybe it's just the algorithm on my side, but a lot of YouTube seems to be a whole lot more pro-Russian than they are pro-Ukrainian, especially on the American side. So Mark says makes sense. Absolutely. What about Dricus and Khamzat? Winner according to you? So this is a very good question, right? And the reason why I say that is because there are some training elements that Dricus does that I sort of do as well that I wanted to share with you guys, and that is heat shock therapy training. What it is that, let's say you do some shadow boxing in the sauna, or something similar to what wrestlers have done, something that I've done at the middle school, high school level, which is wrestle and wrestling rooms where they turn up the heat in there, right? There's a whole entire wrestling room. Shout out to Union High School, New Jersey, right? There is a wrestling room inside the gymnasium of Union High School, and all the wrestlers go in there and they train, and they do drills and whatnot. So it's a wrestling room all by itself, right? They don't got to roll off the mats or anything like that. So there's heat shock therapy value that goes with that. There's a lot of this that Dricus does as well. He trains at a very hot country. He also trains at a high elevation, but he also trains in a very hot country. Now, why is this significant? For example, in this channel, you've seen me on the live stream workouts that I've done, workout inside a sauna, punching inside a sauna, doing some cardio inside a sauna, mostly doing shadow boxing inside a sauna. Now, why do I do that? The reason why I do that is because when I step on the mat and I go and spar with other guys or roll with other guys, guess what? I feel so much invigorated being in an air-conditioned gym as opposed to, let's say, being in a hot room where I'm training in that particular shock therapy matter, right? So in other words, my CO2 level is increasing even more as I'm training that way. And this is something that makes Dricus look like the way he does when he fights. So for example, when you see a lot of people say that Dricus looks very sloppy in the way that he throws his punches, in the way that he throws his kicks, in the way that he basically exhibits his technique, I understand that. Dricus is not a kata, karate, or taekwondo fighter. For those of you that don't know what kata is, it's basically a shadow boxing contest, but using taekwondo and karate movements. And then there's a lot of ahs and a lot of yells, and then the more yells that you do, the more that you perceive power in front of everybody in the room, including the judges that are judging this kata competition. So in other words, it's not going to look that perfect, but it is effective. And that is something that you have to understand, is that Dricus du Plessis is an engine. So without a long-form explanation of Dricus and Khamzat, what you're going to have are two engines with a high capacity of volume and high capacity of outwork. And I think you're going to see a very brutal matchup. Now, to whose side? I think that it's going to be Khamzat, because I just think that he is the technically more sound fighter. So what you have with Dricus and Khamzat are two guys that have strong engines, but in reality, one guy has more of the technique over the other, and that is Khamzat Chimaev. So I hope that answers your question. What does he say here? If you talking about, bro, I'm saying Tower 7 should be investigated. Indeed. You'd get knocked out real quick coming at me with nonsense. Abraham Lincoln calls. I don't understand this guy. Anyways, you are blocked for 1 minute. I'm going to give you a 1 minute block, and then you can come back and speak again. Because remember, a lot of you guys here are nothing more than just tools of engagement, especially this guy right here, right? Knight's Tale, whatever your name is, right? You talking about you would get knocked out really quick. I mean, look, what do you want me to do? You want me to like respond in a way where, oh my God, I'm gonna come after you, or this and that? Like, this is what a lot of you guys want. You want some kind of illicit response to try and make yourselves feel better that, hey, you know what? I made a content creator today go crazy, this and that. So, Knight, you got 60 seconds to redeem yourself before I block you out completely. I only gave you a 1 minute block. I could give you more, but I want to give you a chance to redeem yourself, talking about Abraham Lincoln and this and that. You know what? Abraham Lincoln was a wrestler. That's the reason why he resembles a lot of Dagestanis and whatnot, but that's neither here or there. But going back to the question with Khamzat and Dricus, it's going to be a very technical fight, but on the side of Khamzat Chimaev, and the engine that Dricus du Plessis has is an absolute marvel to really study, and a lot of it has something to do with the shock therapy training that he does. And not just with heat. Also, the other thing that Dricus and his team does is train with a taser. I mean, look, to each its own, right? But the one thing I will say about that whole entire taser situation, it really turns up your fight or flight. Okay? Because, look, one of the biggest problems that fighters have is being able to control their fight or flight before going into a fight. I swear to you, it is the biggest problem that many fighters face, okay? And with good reason. And the reason for that is because of the fact that not many people fight often. I'm going to tell you a few guys that I could tell are like never really scared when they go in there, and there's psychological reasons for that. There's also just a skill discrepancy reasons for that, and a whole bunch of different explanations. Okay, so let's go with Nate Diaz and Khamzat Chimaev, right? I believe that Khamzat Chimaev is not afraid to fight anybody anytime whatsoever. Like, there's zero fear in him. Terrence Crawford, you could say that as well, but what if you put Terrence Crawford in a situation where he has to fight in MMA or in a street fight? Okay, but maybe that's with random dudes that are pretty much regular, so he should have no problem with that. But the other side of it is, what do you call it? The other side of it is, yeah, obviously, just on the boxing side, he's never afraid because he has a skill discrepancy over anybody. Just like Khamzat, I believe he's never afraid. Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz, they're also another group of guys that are never afraid, and it is because they come from, by the way, an environment that I'm very familiar with, right? Stockton was one of the first cities that I had moved into in California, and I got a ton of stories revolving around that. But I will say that being in that type of environment, you're forced to not be scared. In other words, if you're scared in any kind of capacity, which by the way is completely normal, you will get called a bitch. You will get called out for your manhood and things of that nature. So it's a high honor culture. The hood culture is a high honor culture, and that in and of itself is a high motivation for Nate Diaz to get in there and fight the way that he needs to fight. So what does he what does he say here? Let me read what he says here. But one of your previous streams, I asked you the same question. At the time, you say Drickus. So how come you're answering so why are you answering so hypocritically? Okay, so are you saying that in the last stream that I said that I picked Drickus over Kamzat? Let me tell you, if I believe, you know what? A lot of channels out there love to believe that they're unbiased, right? In a lot of fights that you're going to see me do picks or predictions, I'm going to be unbiased with a vast majority of them. Let me tell you where I'm not going to be biased at, and I think you can sort of figure that out yourself, where I'm not going to be biased at. So even if I believed that Drickus can beat Kamzat, which, by the way, is still a great possibility, I don't know if I would say that out publicly, but if I did, please remind me. And I could be wrong. I don't want to slag you off and say, well, you're wrong and this and that, how I'm right all the time and this and that. I don't like being that type of streamer, right? I like to be honest. I like to own up to my mistakes. I like to acknowledge if I got something right, but I also like to be acknowledged if I got something wrong, because that is how you get better. Spent $20. Okay. And then Pawn Prizes says, you wrong, bro. X Project says donated $20. Awesome. So let's see. Yes, I think Drickus is great, but I think Kamzat is even greater in terms of the skill level he's going to display against Drickus. And I think you guys are going to be in for an absolute rude awakening. Honestly, you're going to be in for a rude awakening in terms of what you're going to see out of Kamzat Chimaev. Because look what he did with Robert Whittaker. Now, I understand that Robert Whittaker got knocked out by Drickus, but then that kind of shows you a different level that is at the 185 division right now. You see, Kamzat has been the uncrowned champion for a long time, and as a result of that, I think that we never really got to see the highest level of 185. Now, obviously, there's a lot of guard changes that are going on right now. Imavov knocking out Izzy, and you know what? At one point, many people said that the 185 division is not a SAC division due to the fact that Izzy was dominating. And while Izzy was dominating and was a champion, by the way, I have a video out that you guys can check out and reference called 185, the most stacked division in the UFC. And you know what? A lot of people did not like the notion of me saying that. And the reason why they didn't like me saying that was because of the fact that, well, Izzy was the man at the time, and that was that. The fact that he was man and he was the only one that was defending his belt multiple times and things of that nature. It was very hard to believe that anybody else could topple him, let alone have a division full of guys that could be a problem for everybody. What did Adrian here says? You can train in a sauna, but we do it differently. Training with the sauna increases your heart rate, so you can't take a cold bath afterwards. Correct. Yeah, I take a cold bath just right before I work out. So you know, just to kind of keep that in mind. Oh, hold on a second here. Hold on just a second. All right, sorry, y'all. Uh, Hello from Bizutan. Oh, a shout out to you, Young Hassan. Do you think Nina Drama is an industry plant? An industry plant? That's a very interesting question. Right now, here's what I think, right? I think what Nina has going on is something that a lot of you guys have to learn in the world of media, public relations, and business networking overall. What Nina Drama is somebody that knows how to network. And by the way, this is me saying this about somebody that's, gotten me a good amount of views just by doing videos on her and her beef with MMA Guru. Okay, so do I believe that she's an industry plant? The answer is no. But what I do believe is that she did position herself to be where she's at. Now, you may find that corny. I happen to find it corny. I happen to not be within that leaning or that type of taste of media coverage. But nonetheless, it works for her. It's not something that I like to do. It's not something that I'm down with. But it is what it is. And it is something that you need to learn if you want to get somewhere. And that's really the God honest truth about Nina Drama. Young Hassan says, oh, police? No. I don't know if it... Well, I can't say what that was, but let's just say that if you ever see me riding around and I have to pause, there's just some things that I'm not willing to show on camera. So they keep fighters. These fighters keep losing because they keep trying to be cute. Yeah, that's true. No place. Don't do that cold. Don't do that cold bath before training. Make your muscles stiff. That's why you need to warm up before doing any exercises. Well, the reason why I say that, Adrian, is because Joe Rogan said that he does ice baths before he lifts weights. And he says that it helps increase his testosterone levels. So, I mean, does it make you stiff? Maybe. Maybe there's a good reason to believe that. However, yeah, man, I don't know. I guess it really depends, right? But you know what? I trust Russians. You know what I'm saying? I trust Russians when it comes to sports science because y'all really know what you're doing when it comes to weight training for combat sports. Now, look, I urge you guys to take a look at some of my live stream sessions that I did on here. A lot of it is Soviet inspired, like the one-arm snatches that I do with 100 pounds over my head, right? That's a Soviet style way of training. Or when you have a barbell and you're just pushing the barbell like this, right? It's something I seen Fedor do, right? He just pushes it like outward in front of him. But if you consider Sherjas says here, but if you considered Khamzat performance against Whitaker, don't forget about Burns and Usman, who showed the world that Khamzat is not a threat. Okay, so very interesting point. Very interesting point from our Indian friend here. So I want to address that, okay? So the Burns fight, I need you to understand that was during the time when Khamzat was fasting for Ramadan. I mean, really fasting for Ramadan. Now, Ankalaev, on the other hand, I've made a live stream video about this as well, the day before the fight, where I talk about how he's not fasting for Ramadan. So it's important to sort of bring this up, right? Khamzat was fasting on that day, going to Florida, in the locker room, and waiting to eat at night while he's in the locker room to break his fast. That is the difference. Seth Will says, "Muwahahaha." Hi. Hey, what's up, Seth Will? How you doing, my man? Thank you for gracing us with your presence. And I welcome everybody here who's gracing us with their presence and their commentary and their good questions. And Seth Will here says he's good. I hope he's good as well. And guys, this is the kind of environment you want to fester in your chats. Oftentimes, I get labeled as a very negative person, right? Especially with the way that I'm willing to confront people on a drop of a dime, right? But in reality, you got to judge people for how other people treat you. Now, if other people are treating you with kind and respect, guess what? You got to go and treat them with kindness and respect as well. But oftentimes, people get judged when they have to address other people for acting up and then having to play the tough guy role in order to calm some people down. But either way, the dude fighting Alex didn't fast all the way. That's right. That's right, Fresh. Shout out to Fresh. That's exactly what I was saying, was that Ankalaev didn't fast, but as for Khamzat, he did. Now, going back to the Usman fight that Sergesh just mentioned. Do we forget that Usman is a former world champion? Now, I understand he got his head kicked in by Leon, but he was beating up Leon all throughout 5 rounds until that one lucky shot, and then one can argue that the trilogy between them, that Usman had won that one. Right? One can argue, and then obviously the fight was in London. So, yeah, after a while, we found out that Leon Edwards got exposed, and that was that. After we found out that he got exposed, well, here we are, now understanding who Usman really is, as opposed to the lucky shot that Leon Edwards had. And by the way, I got a video on that as well that you guys can check out on the video section. What did Seth Will here say? I've been kind of worried about my channel because one of my videos got hacked, but I deleted it and remade it. Oh man, I'm really sorry to hear that, Seth. Hope everything works out for you. Adrian says no, he is wrong. I think muscle like hold on, let me try and read this. Muscle elastic is warm and elastic, stretchy, but chances of muscle strains and okay, so muscle strain, yeah, there is a chance of I do. There were a few times where I felt cramps, but I think maybe because I was doing a circuit, a weightlifting circuit along with box jumps while fasting or not eating, so that could be the chance. Sir Jess says Usman takes a short notice fight. That's true. That's true. It's hard to argue, man. But then again, it says a lot about Usman. That fight, I mean, look, it may sound like comes an apologist on my part, and please tell me if that's exactly what I'm doing. But Usman is such at a high level that training for him at a short notice would have probably been a harder fight than, let's say, somebody that was at a lesser level that Khamzat was already preparing for. Big Song says NOP. A Muslim man asked a famous bodybuilder for advice during Ramadan and fasting. The bodybuilder told him to quit porn for Ramadan rather than fasting. Okay, very interesting. Today's challenge: next time you have a loud burp. Okay. If you are looking for testosterone boost naturally, do more leg exercises. Yep, I definitely do that. A lot of one arm snatches. Obviously, that's leg based. Also, I do a lot of box jumps. That's the reason why. Yeah, that's the reason why I try to constantly increase my vertical leap and this and that. So yeah, right around that trajectory, I definitely do those things. So yeah, so that's a great advice for Adrian right there. And like I said, I trust the Russian system all the way, so I have no reason to doubt Adrian in that particular matter. So let's see here. I'm gonna go outside for a bit, chill in the park, kind of give you guys we're gonna chill right in the park right here. By the way, for those of you that don't know, this park right here is literally like a gang neighborhood hangout, right? They be having some gang members hang out here. And if you're probably wondering, well, why the hell am I hanging around here? It's because I can. And nobody here is going to mess with me. So I'm going to do content while I'm out here with you guys. So that's that. So yeah, that's great advice, Adrian. You know, the leg workouts definitely increase more of your testosterone. And that's really all that I try to look for, right? Is constant testosterone building. Bro, don't do this. Everyone is gonna mess with you. What do you mean? What do you mean don't do this? Everyone is gonna mess with you. Are you talking about the environment that I'm at right now? Seth, Will, let me know what exactly you are referring to. Yeah, oh, okay, so you're talking about how dudes here are... Well, you know what? Here's the thing, Seth. If dudes are going to come here and mess with me, that's great. Then I'll have even better content for you guys, way beyond MMA. Siraj says here, but that's the point. Khamzat is a 2-round fighter, according to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but if Dricus survives rounds 1 and 2, then Khamzat has to change. Yes, has no change with Dricus. You're right. It is going to be a lot more difficult for Khamzat as the rounds progress. You are absolutely right about that. Check out the beautiful park around me, guys. If you but what if they're armed? How do you know? Well, listen, I'm gonna just say this, right? I don't come unprepared. That's just the most that I can say right now on stream. I'll just say that right now. What if? I mean, that's really what it is, right? Who in America is not armed? Okay, let's understand that. Who in America is not armed? Just go home if you are in a danger area right now. You know what, man? Seth, what ethnicity are you? And this is not to slag you off or anything. I'm 13. I'm not armed. Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't realize you're that young, my man. I mean, obviously, you never know who's here in the internet, right? You know, anybody could be posing as anybody, but since you say you're 13, okay, I'll take it for what it is. Nice shades with the Palestinian flag color scheme shirt. Man, that is lit. Thank you, Toxic Games. See you later, Siraj. See you as well. I hope to see you soon. What does the ethnicity mean? Okay, I'm going to tell you why, Seth. Seth, check this out. Right here, right? I'm in the West Coast. I'm in Sacramento, right? But I grew up in New Jersey. I knew a lot of Italians in New Jersey. And there's a reason why I'm emphasizing with you why I know a lot of Italians in New Jersey, because the Italians that I know were about that life. So check this out. One Italian homie of mine, he says to me, and by the way, I need you to know that this dude's family is with the business, right? And they're Italian. He tells me, he's like, hey, man, you know, I know that you be hanging around certain people in the West Coast or this and that. You got to be careful. This is an Italian guy saying this to me, Seth. He's saying to me, be careful of who you hang out with in the West Coast, when in the East Coast, his whole entire family is with that business. You understand what I'm saying? So why I ask you if the ethnicity matters is because think of it like this. If you have a different experience with different people, you're going to perceive people differently. So this Italian guy that I grew up with, why does he not realize that these black dudes, Samoans, and Asian dudes are no different than who he is? You see what I'm saying? Why are you a great speaker? Is that an American school thing, Fresh? You know what? It's not really an American thing. I think it's just me having different experience living in different parts of the world. Obviously, I grew up in New Jersey. I lived most of my adult life now in California. But prior to all that, I was born in Libya. I did school in the Philippines, and then I lived in different parts of the world and visited Europe and all types of places. So I had to be very articulate in how people are going to, yeah. Talk to me. Why do you talk white? Well, I like to talk proper, and that's what it is. Shoutouts to Boxing NE. And there is someone Turkish. I don't know what that means. Ethnicity doesn't matter. Yes, Seth, I understand. But experience and your overall POV sometimes matters in a sense where, hey, you know what? You're going to perceive things in a different light than different people. So let me show you guys the part right here. So I'm just going to show you my POV as I'm walking while we talk about just any random stuff in MMA right now, okay? So let me get some palm tree shots here for a second, give you guys a little walk around. But yes, Seth, I agree with you. For the most part, those things do not matter. They don't matter at all. But please take into consideration that experience and the life that you've led and the experience that you've had is going to shape how you're going to think of people. So just imagine that Italian kid that I grew up with, he grew up with a family that basically probably does the same things that the black guys, Asian and Samoan guys, and maybe even the Hispanic guys that I know out here doing the same thing, if you catch my drift. You see what I'm saying? So I hope you understand what that means. Seth says, "Nuh-uh, you hate Italians." No, I love Italians, bro. You know, it's just that they have a different way of looking at the world because they have a different experience, and that's that. But by the end of it all, Italians, blacks, Asians, Samoans, and Hispanics are really not that different, especially when you add in the factor of, you know, living that life per se. You know what I mean? So let me set this down right here. In a good way. In a good way. Yeah. In a good way. Do you think Ryan beats Devin Haney in the rematch? Toxic gameplays, I'm going to be honest with you, right? I don't want that rematch for Devin Haney. I don't like it at all. I think that rematch is going to be very horrible for Devin Haney. Hands down, it's going to be horrible. Even with all the testing, look, I'm not one of these people that believes that the steroids did it all for Ryan. Did it help? Yes. But how much will it help if you drug test him profusely and then get him in there, right? So I don't know, man. I don't see a win in his part at all. If he makes Ryan cut, wait. He makes him cut weight, his hooks will be weak against Tank. I agree. Look, this rematch, speaking of rematch, this rematch with Merab, I don't like it. Why is this emoji so weird? Oh, okay, he cut that out right there. Put what you are going to type in, Seth, my bad. I didn't catch it, or actually you're bad because you're the one that redacted it off, so. So, yeah, look, the Merab and Sean O'Malley are only predicated on the fact that the UFC needs big stars. It's like they want Merab to lose, but you know what? Merab is a pretty big star, isn't he? If you really think about it, Merab is a pretty big star. Is he not? why do I say he's a big star? I mean, look, as much as I don't like Merab, and as much as it pains me that he took Umar out, Merab is a world beater. And nobody is beating him right now at 135. And you know what? When I get into the car, I'm going to tell you guys exactly why I think Merab is as great as he is. I'm going to give you explicit details of why he's so great. Okay. Who is the fighter who kissed Sean O'Malley again? It was Merab. Yeah, it was Merab that kissed Sean O'Malley, yes. To taunt him, to basically emasculate him, right? Which is kind of what Adam 22 does with a lot of his co-hosts, like Brick Baby, a guy who's a rolling 60s Crip, a known reputed gangster, and he goes and he does these sex play talks with him. The hat on the emoji is realistic, but I didn't want you to take the word weird in a different way. Oh, okay. Adrian says, scenario, if 3 men with a gun broke into your house and you are armed, what will you do? Well, Adrian, I think you know the answer to that. However, me living in California, I'm not in liberty to say, but let's just say that it's a natural thing for every man to go and defend themselves out there. Wouldn't you agree? It's what every man does is they go out and defend themselves at all costs. What do you think about that? Toxic says, I live in ATL, so you don't even have to retreat here. You can defend yourself. Toxic, that's very correct. You know about the Soulja Boy case, right? Soulja Boy got into a shootout in his studio and took out a bunch of gunmen and lived to tell about it. Seth here says, I will hide in my closet and call 911. Well, I understand that. You know, me personally, Seth, I'm just not the 911 call-in type. You know what I mean? But, you know, I respect the cops. I respect law enforcement. I respect the United States. I respect its laws, but it's just not, it's just not something that I would do, right? Because I believe in self-reliance to one's defense. So guys, oh, Toxic says, oh, the one where Soulja Boy lied? The one where he thought he was Max Payne? And then Toxic Play says 911 won't get there before that person gets you. That's very true. And then that's true. And then Seth says, I'll be back. I got to go check on that video. Shout out to you, Seth. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe. And also, check out all of my videos while you guys enjoy this view of the park where I'm at right now in the Broderick side of Sacramento. Adrian says, I know what will happen. How you defend it. Yes, absolutely, my man. You know what I mean? Every true man out there knows what it is. And then Seth says he's back. So guys, we are at the 45-minute mark of this live stream. We're going to go past 1 hour. And then in the 1 hour mark, we're going to talk about what makes Merab very special. I'm going to give you detailed information on what makes Merab very special. It goes beyond skill. It goes beyond lifestyle. You're going to be blown out of your mind with the details I'm going to give you later regarding Merab and what makes Merab such an unstoppable force. Seth says, I just completed today's challenge. Oh, very nice. What is today's challenge, Seth? So remember, on top of the hour 1 of the live stream, we are going to talk about what makes Merab very special. And Sean O'Malley have what it takes to take on somebody that very special. Find out on this live stream special that we are doing right now. To the burp, mwahaha. Oh, okay. I don't know what that is. You got to remember, Seth. I'm a 40-year-old man, right? I look young. I look young and energetic, but I'm anything far from young, and as a result of that, I may not always be tapped into all the new stuff. But thank you for sharing. That's always great, you know, being shared those different information from the youth and people out there. You know how you can say burp words? Mwahaha. Okay, and then Adrian asks, I asked this question to everyone, and they all tell go to for full attack. This is the dumbest thing to do in situation from my 3-year military experience. That's right. Adrian here has served in the Russian military. Isn't that right, Adrian? Which is crazy, man. You know, I got all types of people tapped in with me from around the world. I got gangsters. I got Russian military. I got U.S. military. I got dudes from all over the world tapping in and subscribing to my channel. You guys do the same, because we are about 12 minutes away from talking about what makes Merab very special. And until then, we're just going to do a little bit of a freestyle talk to the chat. And then afterwards, I'm going to go in a monologue of what makes Merab very special in all different ways of what makes him unstoppable right now in the 135 division. Say Gabby itches. Okay? Gabby itches. I don't understand the lingo behind that. Seth Will, you're going to have to elaborate a little bit more on that if you might. So everybody that's tapped in from around the world right now, what I would like you to do is write on the chat what part of the world you are from. Okay, we got Adrian here who's from Russia. Seth Will, I'm not sure what part of the world he's from. I'm going to assume the United States. You pronounce that wrong. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was an interesting question that I got earlier from Maybach. He asked me, why do you talk white? Nice shades, Palestinian shirt, this and that. Someone said something about how good my English was here. What did he say here? Okay, I've kind of worried. Okay. Remember, guys, we are about 10 minutes away. 10 minutes away from talking about what makes Merab special. Until now, we're going to do live chat questions, and then we're going to get to the top of the hour and talk about what makes Merab very special. Stay tuned. All right. If in close quarter combat situation, if attacker is more than 2, you can go full attack. If 3 come inside, pick your poison defend position. As long as a full shootout, no one is Rambo to fight the real. Okay, all right, very interesting. Very interesting tactical advice there from Adrian. We've also had a few U.S. military guys in here as well, sort of just share a lot of their experience from Iraq, right? And I got to tell you, Iraq was a very interesting era, okay? Very interesting era. There is no era like it. There is no era quite like the Iraq War era with America, Iraq, and the insurgency, which, by the way, is still, believe it or not, going on today. You see, if you guys notice, right, there was the civil war in Iraq and then a civil war in Syria. Once that popped off, it led into creating all these different factions, such as ISIS. Now you have what was once the Free Syrian Army, or the Al-Nusra Front, as literally now the head of the government in Syria. Now make of that as you will, they are a Sunni government nonetheless. Seth says I'm a go. Okay, nice chatting with you, my man. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also tell your friends and family to like and subscribe as I continue on with some geopolitical topics. While we promised at the top of the hour, I'm going to talk about what makes Merab a very special fighter, and in full details of a breakdown, history, DNA, and everything in between. But for right now, we are talking about the evolution of the war in Iraq with America and its insurgency starting from the days of the coalition invasion. So as you know, now with ISIS became now a forefront of the resistance, okay? So as they became the forefront of the resistance, obviously they got stomped out by America, especially within the Trump era, where he sent in special forces to handle these guys. And then you've seen stories such as Eddie Gallagher, who, by the way, had literally skinned a body of an ISIS fighter, and as a result got court-martialed for it. But that's a whole different story in and of itself. But on any regard, what is going on in that particular world right now is still ongoing, even after ISIS, because there's still fighting going on. There's a guarantee of special forces actions that are going on in that region, combating some form of ISIS, whether that would be in Iraq, in Syria, or even in parts of the outskirts outside of the Taliban's jurisdiction. Right? So there is always, you know, a different war that is going on in the forefront of the Middle East that really deals with the dynamics of the Sunni insurgency sector of the Middle East. So on to the chats here. What did it say? Yes, it is different compared to us climate in different geographical different. Okay, and then Adrian says Iraq is more close quarter combat compared to us. Yes, correct. Because the Ukraine and the Russian war, the Ukraine and the Russian war is really fought in an open field, right? So there's a lot of open field combat going on. Not very much close quarter combats. Now, will it get to that? Yes, maybe if the Russians decide to push forefront into Kiev. If they do that, then that is where they're going to meet insurgency from a local population, because what a lot of people don't know is that obviously there's still a lot of peaceful parts in Ukraine and in Russia where people are getting on with their lives, and Kyiv happens to be one of them. But it is within the outskirts where a lot of these fighting is going on. But make no mistake, the Iraq, Yemen, obviously Palestine now entrenched in the mix, they are all within that circumference of war. But then you got a lot of Shias that are coming from Yemen that are sort of leading a certain different forefront in charge. And the same thing in Iran. Iran and America, ever since the invasion, what they did was try to place a foothold and influence within that region of Iraq. That is what the Americans and the Iranians were trying to do. Okay, they were trying to build some sort of foothold in their economy, or but rather their influence of ideology. America wants to build a reputation of freedom and free education for women and things of that nature, and Iran wanted to provide a haven for the Shias. Because remember, Iraq is a Shia-dominated region, but was ran by a Sunni dictator in Saddam Hussein. Now make of that as you will, with Saddam Hussein's religious religious zeal or lack of zeal. He was still a Sunni, and as a result had the support of local Sunnis. Not so much of the hardcore conservative, radical Sunnis or anything like that, but just the normal down the middle, Iraqis, who, by the way, were later obviously radicalized through ISIS. And then that's sort of what the downfall of ISIS was. There wasn't a lot of guys that were hardcore insurgents and hardcore religious at the same time, right? Which is the, absolute requirement of being an ISIS fighter. So let's see here. Iraq is more CVEs. Iraq, you need to worry about IEDs, but worry about IP. Oh yeah, the drones, the IPV drones are definitely a new mix in the whole entire process. No doubt about it. It is absolutely a completely different mix of advantage. So, yeah, that is something to consider. Oh, what do we got here now? We got 20 seconds. As I promised you guys, those that have stayed are going to see live right now what I'm about to say about Merab and what makes him a special fighter. And will Sean O'Malley have what it takes to defeat a special fighter in the likes of Merab Devonshvili? And I can't even pronounce his last name, and I really should, but I'm going to tell you right now in this hour why he is a special fighter. So for one, we all notice the stamina. What is it that we notice about the stamina with Merab? It is a weapon. As a result of that weapon, he utilizes it to outpace his opponents. Now, what made him like that? Well, here's the exclusive look right now at the bridge. In Sacramento. Okay. What made him special? Believe it or not, one of the contributing factors was him working in construction. Hello, all. Number 4 says. Working in construction did wonders for Merab Devonshvili. And again, I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but if I didn't, whatever. It made his gas tank into a completely different level, and I'm going to tell you why. Oftentimes, when it comes to conditioning, training, weight training, and functional weight training for combat sports, we often worry about the compound workouts that we do within a 45-minute range, a 25-minute range, a 15-minute range, right? That is what ultimately a fighter is training for. But we don't train all the time for the marathon-like movement patterns. And what do I mean by marathon-like movement patterns? When you work in construction, it is literally the same output as you do when it comes to a marathon. You want to know why? How long is a marathon? If you're running for 25 miles or something like that, maybe a 4 or 5 hour range if you're a real professional runner, right? That is literally what you do in construction. And that right there helps build you what you call farmer strength. Now, why is this important to bring up? Why is it that Merab, what you call farmer strength? The reason why it's important to bring this up is because when you have farmer strength, it is strength that you maintain for a long time, okay? It is strength that you don't just train for in a periodic stage. Like, for example, what I mean by periodic stage is you train for a camp, so that's within a 6 to 8 week range. I'm talking about a lifetime of labor. Francis Ngannou has that same pattern. People like him who worked in mines, people like this, okay, who have worked in railways, for example, like the Chinese or other groups of people that have worked under those conditions. There is a certain strength pattern that they have that makes them, well, not invincible, but really a whole lot different than everybody else in the fight game. And as a result of that difference, they are able to push, or they are able to utilize a certain attribute, like, for example, with Francis Ngannou as being an absolute freak when it comes to having God-given strength to knock people out. Okay? That is Merab in a nutshell. And then you add on to the fact of how he trains. Obviously, he's Georgian. There's a genetic factor there. Due to that genetic factor, what you have is a man that can push himself due to the climate that he's lived under in high elevation, just like Khabib. And I've always said that the Georgians are just like the Dagestanis. The only difference is not by race, but by religion and culture. And that is it. That is the, and speaking of culture, that is the reason why, that is the reason why Merab is a whole lot more marketable, believe it or not, than the Dagestanis. Here's something you got to understand about the Dagestanis and Muslim culture. Let me elaborate first, but let me read this. Okay. Hello all. Ukraine lack firepower like artillery shells and motors, but they do split in multiple squadrons to storm one position in pain as. Okay, and then that's from Adrian, and the number 4 says, that's why there's a good at chain wrestling. Okay, Dirtbag Dustin says construction is for peasants. Yes, and there's some truth to that in a certain way. Rock climbers have crazy strength as well. Yes, Adrian says, and did we get us U.S. made Bradley from stuck in the mud? U.S. Bradley is good, but U.S. tank is bad. Okay, so shout outs to Adrian for those comments and everyone else. So Going back to the genetic factors of Merab. He has those genetic factors. He trains the way that he does. And I said that why he's more marketable than the Dagestanis. Look, in Islamic culture, there's certain things that you can't do. You look at him, he does all these videos with these different girls and stuff like that, right? As Muslims, we can't do that. We can't promote, sexuality or beer or betting, companies or anything like that. You'll never see a true Muslim sponsored by a betting company, ever. You'll never see it. That is just the rules that we have in Islam, and we follow and abide by them with good reason and with good wisdom behind it. But nonetheless, Merab, he has a little bit more of a loose morals, right? He's out there. He's a little bit more disclosive. So in other words, it's easier to connect with fans, not just his fans, but also fans of a wider public. So therefore, he is a superstar in that regard, right? He's easy to market. There's no doubt about it. The fact that he's easy to market makes it an easier path for the UFC to help him to superstardom. And that's really all there is to it. Okay, what does he say here? Oh, okay, this is the same comment. But yes, so that is what makes Merab a special fighter. It's the experience of being a construction worker, literally spending your days as a marathon athlete with the same output. So in other words, you're building this particular strength that is, well, look, most guys that lift, they have hard days and then they have softer days, right? These guys are sort of working out in, the same pace all the time, picking up, carrying, this and that. It's why it's called it farmer strength. I got some Samoan homies that I knew growing up when I was first living in Stockton, right? When I first moved into California. A lot of those guys worked in construction. They told me, they're like, hey, you know what? We don't need to train because our way of work and what we do in construction is training. And man, I got to tell you, a lot of these dudes, they would knock out a lot of dudes that we were with, during a street fight. You know what I mean? Like whenever any of us had trouble or this and that, they were the first dudes knocking everybody out. And they had one punch knockout power like Mark Hunt. And these were like Samoan and Tongan dudes. So keep that in mind, right? They did construction. That was all that they did to build up strength. So from there, I sort of understand this notion of what farmer strength means, what a construction strength means, or this and that. It's the continuous motion of a daily routine that, really is what is the true foundation of strength building. It's not about working within a period of a camp and thinking you're going to get stronger in one training camp. It's a whole lifetime of work that you have to put in, and that is the reason why Merab is exactly the way that he is. And then on top of that, let's not forget the Matt Serra Team Longo gym. And then on top of that, his training partner is a former champion in Aljo, who, by the way, is still, out there, trying to kick butt at 145, right? He had all the tools. You understand? The brother had all the tools to help him in his venture of becoming possibly one of the best 135ers ever. Now, going back into Sean O'Malley. Right now, this is the segment of me talking about Sean O'Malley. Right? So now on the 1 hour and 11 minute mark, I'm going to talk about why Sean O'Malley is a big superstar and how this relates to the stream. So here it is. Sean O'Malley is a big superstar. You want to know why? Because understand this. Sean O'Malley has superstar qualities about him. He's not shy. He's obviously very disclosive, and once again, very similar to the thumbnail of this live stream video. You see that he has Adam 22 qualities about him, right? In the way that, let's just say it out loud, the way that he's very loose with his rules in relationship. But nonetheless, that is him. That is who he is. And guess what? The man is a big superstar nonetheless, and we're going to talk about why. Well, obviously, Sean, let's be honest about it, is a wigger, right? And I'm going to be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with wiggers if you are in the hip-hop sphere of things. You don't mind them, and you know what? They make the culture fun. They make everything interesting. You know, they are the type of people that are invited into the barbecues. And as a result of that, what you get are people who are interesting, people who have a different side to them. But then on the other side of that, you look at Sean O'Malley, he aligned himself with Tekashi 6ix9ine. And for those of you that don't understand the implications of that, obviously it doesn't look very good hanging out with a known snitch. So as a result of that, what you got to do is take it for what it's worth. What did Sean O'Malley get out of hanging out with a snitch, being exactly like Adam 22, and then on top of that, getting an opportunity to talk in Adam 22's No Jumper interview? Well, what you get out of that is being a great superstar. And that's what Sean O'Malley got, right? He became a great superstar due to the fact and the nature of the information that I've been given, right? He's very disclosive. He's out there. He knows how to be very flamboyant. And on top of that, he can garner attention. Now, does that translate to skill? Well, obviously, the reason why Sean became a champion is because the UFC allowed him to develop. And this is something that a lot of people really need to take into high account, okay? The reason why Sean is at a high level right now is because the UFC allowed him to develop. You see, Sage Northcutt was supposed to be a superstar, right? This blonde, marketable, you know, Ken doll of a thing, right? This is who they were trying to really push, you know, Sage Northcutt as. Well, obviously, he got into fights that were way too high level for him at a very young age. And eventually, he got kicked out of the UFC, now having to develop to fight out in ONE FC. But nonetheless, it doesn't make him less of a fighter or anything like that. It's just a reality of the situation in the career trajectory that he had to take to get a strong development. Okay, so let me read these comments first before I continue on. Best genetic is a Nordic country like Sweden, Norway, and Iceland. And then number 4 says Booyah tribe. Okay, and then they protected Eminem, number 4 says. And Jen Ramirez says, shave that. Why? Why should I? So continuing on with Sean O'Malley being a superstar, right? Again, there's really no doubt that the UFC wants him to sell more tickets for them, and in order to do that, he has to be champion. But can he beat Merab? And this goes back into the skill factor that we were talking about earlier. Okay? The skill factor that you have to understand is that Merab is just way too good. Way too good for Sean O'Malley. The development of Sean O'Malley is there. He can probably do better in the next fight. But doing better and winning are two different things. And I just don't think that with all the skill development that he was able to garner within these years of the UFC protecting him and in sort of moving him up small, gradual steps, I think it's not enough for the high level that Merab is at right now. And complete reason is the pace that Merab has. You can't train for it. And the reason why you can't train for it is for the exact reason of what the whole entire stream was predicated on, with trying to explain why he is so talented, and that is literally construction. The years of construction allowed him to have all of this. Make no mistake about it. And people are thinking, man, you know what? With all the extravagant gym equipment and new technologies and this and that and new ways of training and all these innovations, people forget that sometimes it's the small steps, like just picking up a brick, moving with it, putting it on your shoulder. And then look at also in the training videos, he's over there doing kicks on the walls, breaking them down, getting time in on those movements. He's constantly working on his martial arts. You see what I'm saying? So, I think, man, I'm not a betting man, but putting it other than Merab is a mistake. Sean O'Malley, I'm going to tell you right now, can he be champion again? Yes. And that is only predicated on if Merab decides for whatever reason this to go up to 145. You know what I mean? Like, thinking about it, you know what? I don't know, man. I don't know why he would move up to 145, though, to be honest with you. Yeah, O'Malley is done, CJ says. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm going to tell you why I think he's done, right? While I take a look at this. Look at this. Some boats. Just wanted to kind of share some boats with you guys. You know what? This is one thing a lot of different streamers don't do, guys. I'm going to talk MMA with you guys, and not only that, I'm going to show you where I'm at and show you the scenery of where I'm at, because you know what? There's a lot of streamers out there where they're from, but for me, dude, I'm proud to be from Sacramento. I'm proud to live in my city. I'm proud to be in California. And you know what? I've done videos in Santa Monica. I've done videos in LA. And I've actually had a video where I recorded my entire Universal Studios trip, which is on this channel. So yeah, man. Utah says, no, man, you can't say that. I mean, you're allowed to say what you want to say. You're entitled to your own opinion, but it doesn't mean that we endorse that. So, but on any regard, yeah. Nice try. You know, trying to, you know, do a little setup over there, but on any regard, yeah. So why Sean O'Malley is done? Okay. It's real simple. It's not that Sean O'Malley is done. Sean O'Malley hit a ceiling. You guys understand the difference? You see, Sean O'Malley could honestly beat anyone's ass right now at 135. Okay? Cheeto was supposed to be his hard fight. Obviously, it was his first loss, even though Sean will vehemently deny it. But Sean beats everybody at 135, man. Right now, especially at his age, even losing to Merab, which, by the way, he's just probably going to get out-wrestled all throughout this entire fight again. And there's going to be no finishes. That's just, you know, a guarantee right there. But rest assured that what you have going on is another rinse and repeat. But everybody else Sean O'Malley beats, and this is what I mean. To better phrase that, Sean O'Malley hit a ceiling. You understand? Sean O'Malley hit a ceiling. His ceiling is Merab, but he beats everybody else. So, yeah, that's when you say that Sean O'Malley is done, I think ultimately that's what you mean. But on any regard, yeah, he is done. He's just done at the championship level after this fight. This is his last chance in the championship realm. There's no two ways around it. What else? Adam 22. I want to address that, right? Did he really just admit that no jumper is broke? Here's my speculation, and I could be wrong, and I don't want you to take this as word is bond or just anything that is true, but just my own speculation. I think what he's trying to do is get people to go on his members only stream as his way of showing, hey, you know what, this channel is dying, but what we can do is garner the support of millions of fans to just pay up and then make even more money out of it. I think that's all that it really is. I don't think that he's going broke. I don't think that him selling buildings or anything like that has anything to do with him going broke. I just think that it's his way of creating a different avenue. But everything else, man, I don't think there's really anything else to that. I know that doesn't sound very extravagant because a lot of people want to believe in the most strangest conspiracy theories. That's the thing about people. They want to believe in something that is super, surreal and unnatural. And I understand, as somebody that is a believer of God, I think that, that's the only, supernatural thing that you should really believe. But everything else, I think it's just BS and delusion. So that's really all there is, to that. So, with that in mind, I think that we've pretty much covered a little bit of everything that we wanted to in this particular live stream. I think that we'll call it quits from there. Obviously, I like doing longer form, live streams, especially for fight days, which, by the way, I will be live for Emmett versus LaRon Murphy, just like I'm going to be live for UFC 314, and also, special announcement, I will be live for WrestleMania 41 as well. So just a little announcements for the future. And like I said, I like doing long form live streams. This one I have to cut short just so I can get a little bit more people to watch later on, rather than just have people watch a 7-hour stream, right? Let's just kind of cut it from here, because all throughout this hour we spit off every great information that we needed to know about Merab, about the rematch, about Sean O'Malley, what makes Sean O'Malley such a superstar. Better yet, maybe we can continue on for another, 15 minutes? Maybe we could do another 15 minutes on the rise of Sean O'Malley, right? Because if you guys remember, Sean O'Malley became a star in Dana White's Contender Series, right? By the way, we're gonna shut it off right after we talk about this fight, this main event, and Sean O'Malley, right? So we'll continue on from here, because we still have all the loyal listeners listening to this. So we're going to give them a special for this one, and then just call it quits right after this 15-minute range or less than. So Sean O'Malley, he became a superstar during Dana White's Contender Series. What was significant about that? Uriah Faber, by the way, a guy that I trained with, was the host with none other than Snoop Dogg. Okay? Now, you got Sean O'Malley knocking this kid out, and then you got Snoop Dogg reacting to it. Do you understand how big of a superstar Snoop Dogg is? Snoop Dogg is the most famous Crip to have ever existed in LA gangbanging. And then on top of that, what's crazy about Snoop is he's still an OG, still active in his own hood. Shout out to Rollin' 20s Crips. Those guys are active. He's active. They're with the business, right? And he goes into these lines of being a dude in that world, also being an icon at the same time. And it's like just really remarkable to see that he is as real as he comes. You know what I mean? Like just really as real as he comes, and no two ways about it. And obviously a global superstar and very influential. Here's Uriah Faber, a local superstar out here in Sacramento, right? And wow, man, you think to yourself, you know what? Greatness is near you. So if greatness is near you, you can learn from them and understand exactly what makes them great, and who better than two guys like that to influence the world into your superstardom. And then make no mistake, Uriah Faber is a superstar. The guy had a K-Swiss deal on top of that. So you got to think this is a guy that's also very influential. Also a top 135er his whole entire career, right? So it kind of gives Sean O'Malley a bit of that rub, as they say in professional wrestling. And by the way, shout out to professional wrestling. I will be covering WrestleMania 41 live for everybody here on the live stream, so tune in. So yeah, and then it just shot up from there. He started taking competitions that weren't as good, but guess what? It developed his career, and next thing you know, he was good enough to challenge for the title, and then he knocks out Aljo at UFC Boston. Like, wow, right? I guess there wasn't really much surprise to that, but at the same time, it showed the development of his skills and being able to do that. You can't just do that overnight, right? And he started taking the right steps, eating right, sleeping right, having the right nutrition. He had Welsh, that guy, Tim Welsh, as his coach. I call the Jiu-Jitsu Canelo, right? Now, what's significant about him, he lives with Sugar. Now, why is that important to understand? Why is it important to understand that him living with Sugar helped his career? Look, you need to have warriors around you as real men, okay? This is one of the worst things that can happen to men in a very feminized world, is that they get taken away from a group of warriors that can help them in any endeavor that they wish to proceed in life, okay? Tim Welsh was around Sugar all the time. He's a jiu-jitsu ace. He can roll around with Sugar all day long. He can understand and manage the grappling intensity and the skills that Sugar needs on that particular part of the ground. On the feet, Sean is a former athlete, so him being able to strike and being able to do it with such fluidity, like he is a Taekwondo champion, I think, honestly, is on why he is who he is right now. So let's add on to that. the coach. He's got the coach that lives with him that can keep him on the right path. He's got the right nutrition, the right game plan, the right sleeping patterns that he even goes and monitors. And then on top of that, he's constantly developing these new skills. But at the same time, I got to be honest with you. It's still not enough to take on Merab. You know what is enough, though? What's enough is that he can actually withstand Merab. But it doesn't mean that he beats him. That's the limit that he has. And it's just, man, look, sometimes you have to admit when you can't beat a guy, right? It's the most frustrating thing in the world. Eventually, you find something to get them with, right? I'll give you an example, right? There's this one time I sparred with this kid from Team Alpha Male, right? I'm not going to mention his name, but I'll tell you this: every time we rolled and every time we wrestled, he always took me down. Always. But then in one MMA sparring session, I controlled his wrist the whole entire time, and then even took him down with a knee. Okay? So it just changes the whole different dynamics. It doesn't mean that doesn't happen for Sean O'Malley, but I feel that if Sean O'Malley can't even knee him or stop him, then who's to say that Merab is not just going to have a rinse and repeat performance against him? Let's take a look at the message right here. What did he right here? Just call the cops to report you texting while streaming driving with a child in the back is illegal and reckless. I'm like, you're allowed to talk on the phone while you are driving, Jerome. I don't understand. Like, this is like, you're a bozo for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to block your message. For 10 minutes. Let's see you come back for 10. Loves you. WM Unfiltered. Shout out to WM